Hi, this is Melissa Manchester, and you lucky people, are listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson with a reminder that the next edition of TV Confidential will premiere next week on this station at the usual time. We'll play part 2 of our conversation with Ray Richmond, author of The Sopranos, The Complete Visual History. Plus, we'll welcome back Stephanie Powers, the actress known around the world as Jennifer Hart, on Heart to Heart. In the meantime, we will round out this week's program by playing more highlights of the opening night ceremonies for the new Happy Trails exhibit at the Hollywood Museum. Happy Trails, new exhibit honoring the life and legacy of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans that features a host of never-before-seen personal items from the collection of the Roy Rogers family, plus photos, collectibles, merchandise, and a whole lot more. The Hollywood Museum, located 1660 North Highland Avenue at Hollywood Boulevard. Tickets and more information, thehollywoodmuseum.com. The Hollywood Museum held a special preview of the Roy Rogers Dale Evans exhibit on the night before it opened to the public. TV Confidential was at the museum that night. We're bringing you highlights from some of the guest speakers who shared some of their memories of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. As we bring you back to the museum, the next voice you'll hear will be Steve Michelmo, Director of Operations at the Hollywood Museum, introducing the next speaker that night, Dawn Moore, daughter of Clayton Moore, the Lone Ranger.
Dawn Moore grew up in the world of westerns as the daughter of the legendary Clayton Moore, who portrayed the iconic Lone Ranger. As for her own career, Dawn had no interest in working in entertainment, preferring a business career in luxury retail. Having appeared on E!, Entertainment Tonight, Extra, Access Hollywood, and more, Dawn has certainly learned a lot about TV industry and was instrumental in producing the 1998 autobiography about her father, I Was That Masked Man. Please welcome Dawn Moore.
I was actually going to come up here and say I have no film cred, but it sounds like I do. Does that mean? Yeah. So since I have no film cred, I have to back up to my father's film cred. So we're going to talk about, I might have to grab that from you, this guy and this guy.
Dawn is holding a photo of her father, Clayton Moore, appearing with Roy Rogers in the 1948 Western, The Far Frontier.
Now, you guys can't see in the back, but this guy, this is 1948, The Far Frontier, okay, classic Republic Studio V Western, right? Somehow, this guy has got the King of the Cowboys and all of the Sons of the Pioneers behind bars. 1 year later, this guy becomes the Lone Ranger. And this guy is out from behind the bars. Fast, and it's kind of wacky, right? Fast forward from the 40s, where there was a little bit of balance between the two of them. So for Dad's 80th birthday, I planned this huge party at the Ocular Museum. It was pretty spectacular. And I would, come out, you send the invitations out, and you hope to God people are going to come, at least they're going to RSVP. And I send invitations out, and I come home every day, because this is in the day of, you may remember, well, there's mail, yes, but an answering machine, right? Little things beeping, and you're all excited. You come home and there's beeping. And so I play this, I hit the play thing, and it's, hi Dawn, this is Dale Evans. I'm so sorry, Roy and I aren't going to be able to join your father, but Roy's a little under the weather, but thank you so much for joining us, and tell your father happy birthday from both of us. Click. And I did not care that they now all of a sudden were coming, because I had her voice. And I stood there and I went, effing Evans! Which I then let my father listen to, because at this point they're buds, right? The really cool kind of thing that tied them both together is, I think Julie and I were talking about this earlier. They were who you thought they were. They were good guys. I mean, they were humans. They put one boot on at a time. They had their human moments, but the reality is, they respected their fans. Their fans meant something to them. They understood the power they had with their fans, and that's another important thing. Legacy for Roy and for Dale and for Clayton For me, I hear from policemen, I hear from firemen, I hear from teachers and clergymen who all say, I chose a career of service because of your father, and not just because of the role he played, but because of who he was as a man. And I know that that's the same for you. I see a little getting a little clumped. Okay. But it's true, and that's very moving to me when I was asked that, what is your father's legacy? I had to kind of think about it. And I realized that's what's more powerful than inspiring someone else to be altruistic. To inspiring someone else to go, you know what, I'm here to help you, let me help you. There isn't anything better than that. I mean, entertaining is fantastic. We need entertainment, we need beauty in our lives. But that's a big deal. The Golden Boot Awards, Rob talked about it. Probably one of the most, let's face it was fun. It was the Golden Globes of the Western world, right? Everybody's kind of, let's face it, everybody was drunk. A lot of blue jokes. Thank you, Pat Buttram. Right? That was loads of fun too. One of the last years of not just the Golden Boot Awards, but Dad and Dale were attending. Dad offered the Lone Ranger Creed, and Dale offered a prayer, and this is how the Golden Boot Awards were always started every year. So Julie and I thought it was kind of fun if I would offer the Lone Ranger Creed, and then we could pass it off to Dale. Oh, it's like Julie. I believe that to have a friend, a man must be one. That all men are created equal, and that everyone has within himself the power to make this a better world. That God put the firewood there, but man must gather and light it himself. I believe in being prepared physically, mentally, and morally to fight when necessary for that which is right. That a man should make the most of what equipment he has. This government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall live forever. That men should live by the rule of what is best for the greatest number. That sooner or later, somewhere, somehow, we must settle with the world and make payment for what we have taken. That all things change but truth, and truth alone lives on forever. So, thank you, Clayton, for that, and Lone Ranger for that, and I'd love to hear the prayer that opened this up. Julie, thank you.
Dawn Moore, daughter of Clayton Moore, reciting the Creed of the Lone Ranger as part of the opening night ceremonies for Happy Trails, the new exhibit honoring the life and legacy of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, now on display at the Hollywood Museum. Dawn Moore's father, Clayton Moore, co-starred with Roy Rogers in the 1948 Republic Studios Western, The Far Frontier. Happy Trails, now on display at the Hollywood Museum. Tickets and more information, thehollywoodmuseum.com. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
One more item. If you're starting a company, particularly one that is in an emerging market, you know that averting any sort of legal dispute is crucial to your business plan. Our friends at Tectonic Law offer an array of services that can help you avoid and preempt future litigation while also developing and protecting your intellectual property and intangible assets. Tectonic Law serves the needs of a host of emerging industries throughout California and beyond, including industrial designers, beverage makers, artists, farmers, retail stores, health practitioners, wellness experts, cosmetics manufacturers, nonprofit organizations, innovators in sustainable practices, and libraries. Go to tectoniclaw.com to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
Hi, this is Michael Learned, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
We've been playing highlights of these special opening night ceremonies for the Happy Trails exhibit via remote from the Hollywood Museum. The final speaker that night was Julie Rogers Pomelia. Julie Rogers Pomelia, youngest daughter of Tom Fox, the only biological son of Dale Evans by her first marriage, and the granddaughter of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. Julie Rogers Pomelia, also the author of Your Heroes, My Grandparents, A Granddaughter's Love, a memoir of growing up with Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. Julie Rogers Pomelia also worked closely with Steve Mickelmo, Director of Operations at the Hollywood Museum, in putting together the Happy Trails exhibit.
Yay, Julie!
And so it goes. And at this moment, Grandma would take the mic and be hard-pressed to ever give it back. She's a talker. Gee, I wonder where I get that. With a grateful heart, she would thank God for all of his blessings, for all of you gathered here. She would want all of you to know Jesus her Lord. She was a preacher, but she didn't stuff it down you. It was really strange. You could really stomach what she was saying to you because she was so delightful. I'm not quite sure how that worked, because not everybody can do that, but she did. And as Rob Word told me just tonight, he said, you know, make sure if you do say a prayer, which I'm talking about it, if you do channel Dale, just make your prayer at least 15 minutes long. She really, really was a talker. In fact, Grandpa used to say, you know what, honey, you're the president of the Talkers Club. And my Aunt Mimi, who's my cousin Lori's mom, she was the secretary, and my Aunt Cheryl was the vice president and all that. And one day we were sitting at breakfast, and he turns to me and he says, you know, I think you might be the newest member of the Talkers Club. I'm not sure that's good or bad, but okay, thanks. You know, when I was 9, I'm going to read just one, don't worry. My chapters are only 2 pages long in this book. They're very short chapters. But there's a very special, special memory that I have of my grandfather in particular. When I was 9 years old, I was fascinated with books. I mean, fascinated. Everywhere I went, I looked for another gem to add to my collection. Now, you have to know that the word gem, I use it really loosely because it was merely a box of comic books, okay? Nevertheless, I was so proud, and I brought my fine specimens over to the house to show Grandpa one day. He's gonna love this, I thought. So I walked in, and he was sitting in his favorite chair watching TV, right there. I mean, this was my view. This is what I'm talking about right here. I plopped down on the floor, and I scooted up beside him with my shoebox. He looked at me, pointed to it, and said, "What you got there?" "Gems," I said, very matter-of-factly. He turned off the TV and he said, "Oh, let's take a look." I proceeded to show him every gem in my very forgettable collection. I love him. He listened very patiently to my painfully long presentation. And then his eyes squinted and he shot me that mischievous grin, which always meant something was about to get fun. And he said, "Bring your box and come with me." So off I pattered after him out to the garage, and he gently took the box from me and placed it up on his long sawdust-covered workbench, strewn with pieces of rock, wood, leather, bits of chain, and these weird, bumpy round rocks he called geodes. "Watch this," he said. He took a geode that he'd already cut open, and he spread the two halves apart, revealing the stunning crystals inside. But it was so bumpy and ugly on the outside, I laughed. "I know," he said. "Look at this one." I was completely awestruck with the most beautiful stones I had ever seen. All right there on his dusty old workbench. He even showed me a few that he had already polished and cut to make polo ties with. "Whoa, you got good gems, Grandpa," I exclaimed. I was so intently focused on the moment that I didn't notice that he was putting all of them one by one into my box. Not until he put the lid back on my box and I picked it up did I notice it was now very heavy. I peeked. He smiled and said quietly, "Why don't you take these and add them to your collection?" He was a man of few words. Well, except when my cousin dropped a frozen turkey on his toe, and then we heard a lot of words. He was shy most of the time and found it hard to express his emotions. I put the box down and I hugged him tight. Thanks, Grandpa. It's been over 50 years and I still have those rocks he gave me so long ago. I take them out every once in a while and the memory of that afternoon with Grandpa at his workbench comes flooding back like it was yesterday. I was rich and I felt it. But not because I'd been given beautiful stones, but because I knew my grandpa loved me. And that's priceless. These are my rocks. You know, Roy Rogers was just a bachelor country boy from Ohio, and Dale Evans never expected to see her name in a crossword puzzle. But she did. They were ordinary people who lived extraordinary lives. Some of you here knew them. Others of you saw them on the big screen. A few of us here saw them through the screen door while asking for another popsicle. Right, Lori? So, however it was that you experienced Roy and Dale, they truly were the people that you hoped they would be, just like Don said. I'm excited for you to see this exhibit. I'm excited for me to see this exhibit. To get a peek into the personal lives of the King of the Cowboys and the Queen of the West, a.k.a. Grandma and Grandpa.
Julie Rogers Pomelia, granddaughter of Dale Evans and Roy Rogers, reading a passage from her book, Your Heroes, My Grandparents, A Granddaughter's Love, in which she recounts the story of the love for gems that she shared with her grandfather, Roy Rogers. By the way, the box of gems that Julie got from her grandfather is one of the items that are on display as part of the Happy Trails exhibit at the Hollywood Museum. The Hollywood Museum, 1660 North Highland Avenue at Hollywood Boulevard in the historic Max Factor building. Tickets and more information, thehollywoodmuseum.com. Our thanks to Danelle Dadigan, founder and president of the Hollywood Museum, as well as Roger Neal and Harlan Bowl, for allowing us to play audio highlights of the opening night ceremonies as part of our program this week.
Hi, this is Jim McCrell, and you're listening to TV Confidential, and you might learn something.
A reminder that Rod Serling at 100, One Writer's Acknowledgement, the new book by Joseph Doherty, Rod Serling at 100, available right now through Fayetteville Mafia Press as well as Amazon.com, while The Sopranos, The Complete Visual History, the new book by Ray Richmond, available wherever books are sold, through Insight Editions as well as Amazon.com. Ed Roberts, Tony Figueroa, and Donna Allen, Phil Grice, Greg Erebar, and Susan Silver. Thank you so much for listening. Stay healthy, stay safe. We'll talk to you next time on TV Confidential. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to the TV Confidential podcast. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the TV Confidential podcast, or better yet, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or wherever you listen to our podcast.